Aloha, and welcome back to Live at the Legislature. I'm Kyle Aloha Lindsay with the Legislative Minority. Our guest this morning, live from Eva Beach, is Representative Bob McDermott. He represents House District 40 and is a member of the House Select Committee on Economic and Financial Preparedness. Rep. McDermott, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, good morning, Kyle. And first, before we begin, I want to thank you and all the guys there at Olelo behind the scenes who've been up early this morning working just so we can come out here once a week and say a few words. So thank you guys, and the Olelo guys, you know who you are. Thanks, Mr. Brown.
Absolutely, they've been doing a great job. It's been about a month since we've had you on. It was the day after the Capitol closed when we last had you live at the Capitol. Can you just give us an update of how things have been with you and your community since then?
Well, sure. So we got an email this morning. Somebody said, "Where are you guys?" We are offering assistance and suggestions to the governor through written communication. I'm on the committee. We come up with written communications, also suggestions. One of the things we're looking at is how to get visitors here safely, because as you see, we have over 30% unemployment. How do we get the visitors back into the hotels, the people back working, all virus free, right? That's what we want to do. So we're kicking around some ideas on arrivals being pre-tested or testing when they arrive. And the quarantine issue is a quarantine with no teeth. So we've got to have some problems with that. At least I did. I do think it was helpful. Some of the things that didn't really happen were the prisoner early release. On one hand, you want to arrest people for walking on the beach. The other, we'll just let out the meth addict, right? Let him back out in the streets. It didn't make any sense. And I think that gotten beaten back pretty good.
How have things been in your district?
So
how's
the
the
food
response been? How's everyone been coping?
Well, what we're providing them is information, tangible things, websites. I've talked to several small businessmen about how to get those loans, where to go to apply for them. What you're seeing at the deck plate level, if you will, is the interest in the food banks. Food pantries are seeing a huge uptick in the people coming to them. And so that's been a concern. We have a couple that operate here in Eva Beach, and they're doing good work. And so that's what I can see visually. Everybody's just kind of, in a hunkered down mode, wait and see.
And you had mentioned tourism as part of your work on the committee. What is some of the written communication that you've done with the governor, and what are some ideas to open up the economy?
Well, Rep. Ward and I have been working together diligently on this. We want people to be tested 48 hours prior to departure from the mainland or wherever they're coming from. And if they're not tested, once they arrive, the governor has the authority legally, we check it out because it's a public health crisis, to test them at the airport. If they're positive, we immediately quarantine them in a secure facility overseen by the National Guard. It's real simple. And could you imagine someone test positive and then you're going to put them on a return plane with a bunch of passengers, right? I mean, it makes no sense. And so we're not testing arrivals every week. It's crazy. And we know these people aren't staying in their hotel room for 2 weeks, not going anywhere, just drinking iced tea. It ain't happening. Ray Charles could see that. So how do we convey that sense of urgency to the governor? Now imagine the huge economic impact it would have if we could say, hey, Hawaii is virus free. It's not that hard for us to get that. You're tested prior to you come here, and then you have a hotel. Every one of our employees has been tested and they're negative for COVID-19. Well, I want to stay there. Hey, let's go to Hawaii. Let's get out of New York City.
Has there been any traction with that idea, or testing has been a huge issue here?
Testing's part of it. They have this thing called the Abbott machine, which was demonstrated on television. It can, well, you know this because you helped write the letter. I'm an honest man, but they can do a test within 15 minutes. You get 400 of those machines, you can attest every arrival, and it's going to be like going through customs. There'll be a delay, but everybody will be safe, unless you have this card signed by your doctor that you got to test 48 hours before, and we can monitor that to their DEA drug prescription number, so there's minimal fraud and abuse. So has it been talked about? David Carey mentioned it yesterday, and he was quoted in the news. So I'm not, Gene and I aren't the only ones with this idea. I talked to a very important leader in the tourism industry last night. He said I should push it. I mentioned it to Hawaiian Air Chief, but he had a lot on his plate, and I don't know what. Thank you. I don't know what the answer was. I got it other than maybe. So we'll see.
And how's the other facets of the committee been? I know they talked about agriculture yesterday, farming, restaurants. Can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah. Well, I was disappointed not to see the tag there, Adjutant General, because he's in charge of this whole darn thing. He was there the week before. They're starting to get to coordination, and I think we're starting to come together and understand that our mission is a path to economic recovery. And the only way we do that is fill the hotel rooms.
Absolutely. And what if some of the other projects that you've been doing in your district? We're still open for business technically. So what else have you been up to?
Well, general constituent services. But the COVID thing has really just been all encompassing. Thank you. And so, and I'm on this special committee, so it's taking up a little bit more of my time. And we're trying to come up with innovative ideas to get those hotel rooms full. Imagine if you could advertise, Hawaii is nearly virus-free. All arrivals have to be tested either prior or to when they get there. And we're a virus-free hotel. Everyone in our employees has been tested. That would be a huge economic driver. So we just got to convince the powers that be to do that. Dave is Governor Ige is a wonderful man, but a little too slow in his decision-making process. It reminds me of an old man slipping into a hot tub on a cold January morning. A little bit at a time, just a little bit. So we'll see.
We got a couple of minutes left. So do you see a timeline as far as when folks can hopefully get back to work and when something like this could be implemented?
We only have 1 minute left. The sooner the better.
1 minute left.
I don't know the availability of the Abbott machines, how many there are. I'm going to make some calls today to see, because we've got to push this forward. We can't just ask a department head to do it, because quite often they're the greatest resistance to innovation and ideas of change. We're Hawaii 2.0 concept, similar like the TSA. It's something new and different.
Any closing comments for us this morning?
No, someone just tried to call me, though. Thank you guys at Olelo. Thank you. You guys are doing a great job. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and share just for.
Excellent. Representative McDermott, thank you for joining us this morning. And thanks again to the Olelo staff and everyone here. We will see you next week. Aloha.
All right. Take care.
What are you doing? We have to go. I'm gonna be late for work.
It's Tuesday morning. I gotta record live at the legislature on Olelo. Senate and House leadership discussing what's happening at the state capitol.
So just watch it on the news tonight. Come on, let's go.
Hey, this is like getting the news before it's news. If only I could get this remote to work.
There. Can we go now?
No DVR? No problem. Watch Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. on Channel 49.